Undrafted Free Agent Live podcast, the podcast where the only play in the playbook is a Hail Mary. That's Richard. I'm Merp. Let's do this thing.
Let's do this. Great intro, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Well said.
Yeah. We didn't do our homework. We didn't flag someone down to record an intro for us. So I figured.
But we did the NFL Blitz play, just Hail Mary every single time. What a great game.
Figured we'd do it live. Yeah, classic.
Classic game.
Future episode. NFL video games.
Yes, we should play it, but then go back and just be like, oh my God, I can't believe. Remember that guy? Remember that guy? Who was on the cover? Was it Cordell Stewart?
He was on the cover of Madden?
No, NFL Blitz.
Oh, NFL Blitz. Oh, yeah, you're right. Actually.
Yes. Yeah. He was just a picture of him just like this.
Yeah, we may need to do that on my Twitch.
Okay.
I've got the whole setup. I've got all of the retro games in there and everything.
That'd be a great off-season pod.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I have to start writing all this stuff down. All right.
We've got a special episode for you guys today. It's pretty much the mid-season now, right?
Yeah.
The middle of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our mid-season award show.
Yes.
Right?
The updated graphic.
Yeah. It's coming up. You'll see.
Yes.
We polled some people we know. We took our own expert advice, right? And we came up with some award winners, some award winner losers.
Yeah.
So
we went both ends of the spectrum.
yeah, there you go. But before we get into that, we had another great week of football. We had what I love, a football holiday.
Yes.
Right? Well, why don't you explain what was going on this weekend? Not that the marketing all over the place didn't.
Are you talking about Caleb Williams versus Jane Daniels?
No. The holiday. It was National Tight Ends Day.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. I thought my second guess was going to be the sports equinox.
The sports
yes,
equinox.
which was, I believe, Monday?
Yes, it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, National Tight Ends Day.
National Tight Ends Day.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because, didn't it start as, a way to raise awareness of all the things that tight ends do, but now all we talk about is all that they do? So I guess it did work.
It did. Actually, it was started just randomly on the San Francisco sideline. It was George Kittle, but he was not actually the tight end that was playing. So he was maybe a rookie or a backup at the time. Mm-hmm. And Garoppolo and the current tight end, who I can't even remember who it was, which is saying a lot because I have a pretty good memory for players. They were tearing it up. And at some point, Kittle was like, what is it, National Tight Ends Day? And then he just made it a thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you have tight end U now, started by Greg Olsen. And was it Kittle too?
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah. That's pretty wild. When you think about it, it's kind of wild that they just get all the tight ends together and it's all about self-improvement and how we can be better players.
Right.
That's interesting in such a competitive sport that you'd get together with your competitors to make everyone better. But I guess, it's working.
Yeah.
Tight ends are getting more respect than ever now.
Yeah.
Running backs tried it with a Zoom call and that didn't go so well. So.
No. And it was a big week for tight ends. I mean, they had
every single touchdown.
Yeah. I don't know how many receptions, how many touchdowns. Just watching the games, I was I could feel it. These guys were scoring on every game. I was flipping through red zone, and every play it seemed like was a one-handed catch by a tight end.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Do you think a bunch of coaches were like, you know what? It's tight end day, National Tight End Day. No one will expect if we just have these trick plays towards tight ends, but they all did it.
Yeah, it was it seems like there was a Fox style memo that went out.
Yes.
Right? Because they were targeting tight ends. I mean, there was a running back option where Jahmyr Gibbs threw a touchdown to Laporta, right, on the Lions. So, yeah, I think they were all pushing National Tight End.
Before we get into the awards, should we talk about the big news that just broke an hour ago?
I don't know if I know this news.
Okay.
Do I? The trade?
No.
No. Okay.
It's super relevant to this podcast.
Oh.
Anthony Richardson is now the backup. Joe Flacco is a starter in the NFL again. He's going to win back-to-back comeback player of the year. It's going to happen.
I did see that, and I was getting ready for the podcast, and I saw that. I was like, "Oh, I gotta flag this to like bring it up."
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do it sooner. I guess they were looking at okay, he's a project, we can help develop him because as amazing as Joe Flacco is, he's not your 5-year plan.
No, yeah, they had to give Richardson a chance, but it's not looking good.
Not looking great. It's terrible. I'm bringing up a stat. So since I think 2012, Richardson only beat 4 NFL QBs in complete percentage.
Oh man.
Yeah, and do you want to know who he just barely beat?
Who?
It'll be the perfect encapsulation of the stat. Just slightly above Tim Tebow's. Yeah, that's all you need to know, right?
Yeah,
that's I don't even need a number. Just say, hey, he was slightly better at completing passes than Tim Tebow. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. All right. So
it's award season.
Award season, right? These are our mid-year awards. So this is just how we feel about teams right now in this instant, right? Not really projecting for the second half either. We'll do our end of season awards after the second half. But taking into account, expectations from before the season and how things are going now, which is actually kind of tough because we came up with this idea before the weekend, and I feel like some of the games changed.
Yeah.
What we were thinking.
I can think of 1 or 2 that I'm like, oh, that person got downgraded or this team got upgraded.
Yeah,
vice versa.
Absolutely. And so we'll kick things off with our first award here. Bring this in.
Pretty basic award to start off, but the most important one.
Important one. Best team in the NFL. Let me kick down our background music here. So there are plenty of candidates, and it's a tough award. Most of these are tough awards to give mid-season because a lot can change.
Yeah, small sample size.
Right? Yeah. And for me, right, and I'm giving this award, I'm going to open up the envelope, and it's hard to deny this team this award.
Yeah.
Right?
We have some,
as much as you would want to, as much as you want to look around the league and you see other things that are happening that are really great in other cities, when you open up the award, right, best team right now has to go to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, we were obligated to say that for legal reasons. But no, it has to. Only undefeated team left.
Only undefeated team left. And I actually was strongly considering giving this award to another team, right? There were a couple of other teams.
I have one in mind.
Yeah, one in mind. But this weekend changed our view, right? So there were a couple of teams. One of them fell off because of a loss. One of them really actually made a stronger push to get the award. But then I would say right at that goal line stand that the Chiefs had, I was like, this is a complete team.
Yeah.
They have a defense. They have a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. The offense is going to turn it around. So
yeah,
I'm comfortable saying that they're the best team. They haven't played their best game yet, but that makes them even scarier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once the offense gets clicking, just forget about it. And
postseason Chiefs is the different Chiefs team.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at postseason. We're looking at right now at the 7-0 record. So, did you have a?
So I do have a counter. Just to play devil's advocate, we gotta talk about the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6-1, 7-1.
6-1.
6-1. They always had that weird loss. The second reason.
They might be 7-1. They might be 7-1. Right. I don't think. Because there were teams that didn't hit their bye yet.
Yes. It was weird actually. This past week there were no buys. You think they were just getting them all out of the way? It was odd. The Lions. I'm gonna throw a crazy stat out there. Show you how good this offense is.
Yeah.
Last 4 games, the Lions have scored more points than 14 NFL teams have all season.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you just take half their games,
Yeah.
they've outscored nearly half the league entire season. This
And
offense is unstoppable.
That other stat that has been thrown around a lot right now at this moment, that for the past 6 games, they have scored more touchdowns than they have incompletions.
Whoa.
That is an insane
That's going to help with a later award.
Yeah. But those touchdowns include, because they had a punt return, right? So it includes that. They had some defensive return. So it's, and, you know.
They also only threw for 94 yards this past game and somehow won, which is crazy. A lot of special team and defensive.
Because they're going to have like one of the
plays.
classic nickname running back duos, right? Did you know? Do you know their tandem?
What is it? It's like better than Thunder and Lightning because that's been done.
Yeah. That's it. It's Sonic and Knuckles.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Sonic
Yes.
and Knuckles.
Which
Amazing.
they might be too young to even
Right.
get that reference, but I'm glad they made it. I get it.
So like I said, we polled our friends, and just so you can see, they agree with me, right? 67% of them said that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the league.
It's hard not to give them that.
We also promised that we'd give them a shout out. So I do want to thank a few people for contributing to our show by voting in our survey. The next time we do this, we'll put it out there to the public. We'll see how many people out there, not just our resident experts that we know, but those of you out there in the world. So yeah, thanks to Brof, Paul, Mark, DJ Pap, aka Anthony, our 49ers fan, Spags, who's our Cowboys bandwagon jumper, the Rural Juror, that's my jerky friend, Slaw.
30 Rock, right?
Yeah,
it's a 30 Rock reference. Yeah, okay, sure. Well
Flex, Funkmaster Flex, my brother, the OG QB1, and I actually had my video game design class.
Oh, that's
vote
cool.
Also,
yeah,
so
that's cool.
those kids, they got a word into.
Very nice. All right.
Ready to go on to our next award?
Okay, so why don't we go from one end of the spectrum to the other?
Here we go.
So let's be clear in this award. So this is for the worst team, not disappointing, but worse.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna give out this award, and this is another award. It seems like the polar ends of the NFL are pretty easy to pick out. How do you not give it to the Panthers? Just a mess. A QB. No one's going to those games. Coaches are getting in fights with the other coaches. You see that aggressive handshake with who was it? Sean Payton. Sean Payton went for it with the trick play in the fourth quarter, up big. Just not. I don't know. If you're a Panthers fan, maybe flashback to a previous episode. Maybe you look forward to them moving to Europe.
Yeah.
But not a great NFL team.
They're doing their best to set the table for that.
Yes.
Who is the coach of the Panthers right now?
I would have to look up the exact name. I can look it up while you talk.
I still have like Rule in my head.
Yes. He was a great coach at Baylor.
Oh yeah.
Bombed at Carolina and is doing some really good stuff at Nebraska right now. So
yeah, there's no predicting that transition from college to pros for anyone, a player, coach. It's night and day. But
then on top of it, to have the league's worst owner.
Yeah.
Just not.
But I would contend that there is another 1-win team in the NFL right now, right? And I was thinking, are we going to consider 2-win teams? And you look around and there's a drastic gap between 1 and 2-win teams. Oh, Dave Canales.
Yes.
Right.
All fair. I can tell you a funny story about him. Yeah, not really good for a podcast, but I can tell you. Yeah.
So we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you watch those games, and they're a mess. They cannot control, Trevor Lawrence's bad tendencies right now.
Really, definitely top tier in the world in terms of quarterback. Probably middle of the tier in the world. Just hold on to the football.
Right.
Not necessarily. You think it'd be a compatible skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, hold on to the football. Kind of difficult for Trevor. All right. So that was pretty easy. Worst team in the NFL.
The only thing I'll say is it's really tempting when you watch because there are a lot of 2-win teams in
Yes.
the NFL right now, and it's
Yeah.
tempting to consider them.
33%
Because
of the
they-
AFC is 2 or fewer
Right.
wins. That's crazy.
They really look like dumpster fires.
Yes.
when you watch these games.
Mhm.
Some seasons you get like a lot of parity,
Mhm.
a lot of middle of the
Just
road
got, like,
teams.
It's like the bell
I
curve.
feel like last year that's what was happening. This year there's like there's no middle ground.
Mhm.
You know,
Is this the COVID slide?
it's,
And they're like,
I think it reflects America. Like there's no middle class.
Yeah, oh,
in
yeah.
the NFL. Right there, you're at the top or you're at the bottom.
yeah. And so this is a great example of how this weekend's games would have affected our
Yeah.
choice. Because I think before this weekend, the Patriots would have been
Yeah.
in that conversation, especially a loss at home to the Jets.
Right.
But
But then again, like that win made me think of selecting the Jets for this.
yes, yeah, that's
That loss, they look.
in my rankings. The Jets are right there.
Yeah, it did not feel like when they had the lead, they were gonna win that game.
No.
They were not gonna pull that out.
Yeah, the Jets have like, it seems like each week they have like a button they press. Like, okay, we know the season's going bad, but we're gonna fire the coach. We know the season's
Right.
going bad. Here's Devontae Adams. We know the season's going bad. Reddick just came back, right?
Yeah,
He just signed finally. Like, what button are they gonna press this upcoming week?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
Right.
is gonna fix everything.
We can't pick on the Jets though, because like watching the Giants last night,
Yeah.
we predicted earlier in the year that maybe Dable should be on the hot seat,
Mm-hmm.
and surprisingly, the owners have backed him up. But
Yeah.
they look like a poorly coached team right now. Those penalties, the offense is like in disarray.
Yeah. If you're gonna go into the offseason trying to find a replacement for Jones, you have to go all in. Like they
Right.
sort of went all in, but in the end ended up with Jones, and it's just been terrible.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're moving on though.
All right.
We've got plenty of awards to give. Lots of hardware here. Hope you guys like the trophy.
Yeah. We are gonna mail these to the teams, right? We decided
Printouts
that.
of them. right?
Print out, yeah. Paper copies now. We'll laminate them at the end of the year.
All
They'll
right.
have to return them if they don't win the award at the end.
Yeah. Rich, you have the esteemed honor of giving out the next award.
MVP, another one that I wouldn't say like it drastically changed what I agreed for MVP, but it's a really close race.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to Lamar Jackson right now
Yeah.
because I think if you take Lamar Jackson out of the Ravens, they're like a 500 to slightly below 500 team.
Right.
Fun fact, by the way, if you take Lamar Jackson off the Ravens, do you know who their QB2 is?
I do not.
All right, one of my favorite players, Josh Johnson.
Oh no way.
Yes,
He's still in the league?
yes. For those of you who don't know, Josh Johnson, I can read off the teams because it's kind of hilarious. Has been a pro, I want to say since 2013,
Yeah, he's been around.
but has been on no less than 19 teams.
Are you for real?
Yeah. Do you want me to read it real quick? Because it is pretty astonishing.
While you look it up, I'll say I just remember that that he played in a minor league football team, which we didn't know before existed in Brooklyn. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the Brooklyn Bolts. Yes.
Brooklyn Bolts.
Uh,
We were there.
Shockingly
once.
not on this list.
It's not on this list yet.
I'll double check the list.
Okay.
All right, so he's been a pro since 2008. Okay.
Okay.
Went to San Diego, not San Diego State, the other one, San Diego. And I'm just going to rattle them off.
Yeah.
Okay. Buccaneers, 49ers, the Sacramento Mountain Lions, the Browns, Bengals, 49ers, Bengals, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Washington, San Diego Fleet, Lions, LA Wildcats, 49ers, Jets, Ravens, Broncos, 49ers, Ravens.
Oh my god.
So
He either-
third time with the Ravens.
He either owns an RV
Yes.
or he has like a punch card for those
Must be an amazing locker room.
long-term
Dude.
hotels.
Yes. Oh, extended stay. Yes.
Extended stay, yeah.
All
that's
right.
what he called it.
Back to everything, but I just thought that was crazy. Like, Josh Johnson has been
Right.
everywhere. Yeah, so Lamar just you want to say, the Chiefs just press the Mahomes button. The Ravens just press that Lamar Jackson button whenever they need him, and he usually comes up.
Yeah. There have been a couple games where they've needed him, but I think the majority of Ravens games, I think it's evident at this point, after the first or second game, how important Derrick Henry is to them.
Yes.
And so I would argue, right? Without Derrick Henry, I feel like Lamar would be a lot more human, right? Without what he's doing right now, just crushing opponents in the second half. You watch him in the first half, and he's real quiet.
Yeah.
But he just like grinds and grinds.
The Ravens last couple of years have had that actually probably midway through the season, right around now, they were kind of like 500.
Yeah.
Or they kind of felt that way last couple of years. And Henry and Lamar, just that tandem has just put them over the edge right now. A little hard to explain that loss to the Browns this past weekend, but still, I think you got to give it to Jackson.
Some Winston magic.
Yes. Yeah. We should do like a deep dive one day in the off season of the QB2 bump that happens.
Yeah.
Especially when everyone hates QB1.
I love that off-season plan of these nerdy episodes.
We'll just talk about Winston and Flacco all summer.
Yeah. All right. Oh, what the people say.
Yes.
And it's, I guess it's expected, right? They say Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Right. Most valuable player. I don't know. This season is like
that gets into the whole debate. Is it most valuable or is it best performance? I think Lamar and Derrick Henry and Jared Goff have had the best performance for the first half of the season. Mahomes is without a doubt the most valuable player in the NFL, but just hasn't had that great of a first half of the season.
So let's go on. We're gonna go on to. We're going to flip this coin, right? And we're going to hit our least valuable player.
Yeah.
And there are so many metrics that you can use to decide what player is the least valuable to a team or to the league.
You could look at salary. You could look at,
Yeah, there's so much. There's so much. But when you look at a combination of everything, and this will tip my hat, but injury included in that.
Yeah.
There's again only one name in the envelope, right? It's got to be Deshaun Watson. There's a team that is completely crippled by one player and one managerial decision. All the capital that was invested, all the salary cap, part of the pie put into this. And then to underperform the way he did while he was playing, right? There's all of that.
Historically.
And then to miss, the rest of the season and to have the first game that he's not there, be this huge upset. All of that combined, it's got to be Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's going to go down as the worst contract in sports history. Yeah. And it's wild to think, not to bring up Joe Flacco again, but we have to hit a quote. We should have a Joe Flacco counter.
Yeah, I'll add that.
Yeah.
I'll add that for next time.
The Browns were a playoff team last year at Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski is an amazing coach.
Right.
And then you just take Deshaun Watson out, and suddenly, I know it's one game, but that was it. It was down to one guy.
Yeah. We'll see how it pans out for the Browns, but it is amazing to have not just that one change. I mean, remember they also had Amari Cooper taken out of the equation, and Deshaun Watson was possibly such a negative.
Yes.
That even losing a player as good as Amari Cooper, who's been playing well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to give some shout outs to our other LVPs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we also brought up Aaron Rodgers.
Currently
Currently a worse record than Zach Wilson at this time last year as the Jets.
Yeah.
QB.
In my mind, it was a 2-horse race between Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson because of the impacts outside, not just on the field, but with everything.
I'll give you a third one.
Yep.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
not too much of a salary cap hit, but when you think about what the trade capital they traded away for him, because they should have had the first overall pick this past season too.
Right.
But they gave it up to get him to the Bears, and now Caleb is doing amazing. Bryce Young got benched, is now back, still not looking great.
Right. He's back because Dalton's injured, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
So it's not like they
But
chose to put him back in.
If you want to think of from a financial sense or a math sense, they gave up a first overall pick for him. If they were to trade him now, they would get a 7th rounder.
Oh my God.
That's like as bad as a return as you could possibly get.
Yeah. Yeah. And they couldn't move him even for that.
Yeah.
Because his contract that he would command would not be what people would pay for for him. And I don't know the rules of like taking pay cuts. And I don't know that a person in his position would take a huge pay cut. We'll see. We'll see what his
Yeah, I'm
passion for
interested
the
to
game
see
is.
when his contract runs out what happens, because
Yeah.
I'm sure one team will give him a shot. Like they'll look at the film from Alabama and say, "Oh, I can fix this. I can fix this."
Right.
That always happens.
Zach Wilson's somewhere, right?
Yeah. Zach Wilson, number 2 overall pick, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
number
remember.
2. Yeah. All right.
The people voted for Daniel Jones, which I think is. I don't think he's in the
I could see
same
it.
arena, though.
No.
He's not special, but he's not necessarily the reason things are like.
Yeah, and
awful.
what's he make? 40 million a year?
Yeah,
That's
40 million
that's a big chunk.
It's a big
to
chunk.
be below average,
but it was a big chunk for when it was signed.
yeah. Now
But
it's
now it's
now
like,
it's not too bad.
not too bad. And there's the main problem I think is receivers just not giving him anything. Like I watch these games.
Yeah.
Like as someone who looks through a quarterback's lens, you cannot get any less separation than Wan'Dale Robinson gives a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's so small, and his window's so small, and then he doesn't break away. There's a difference when Neighbors is on the field, I'll say.
Yeah, no.
Neighbors makes a difference.
They have to keep him happy.
Yeah.
I don't know who you get to make sure he stays happy, but whoever it is,
Right.
gotta get him the ball.
Right. Because Wan'Dale Robinson's not getting open. Slayton's not holding onto the ball. There's nothing else going on there.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
All right. Next, Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year.
Okay. Who's getting the most out of their guys? Because it seems to be that's the award. Who gets the most out of their guys, or who takes a team that everyone thought was going to be terrible
Right.
and makes them not terrible.
Yeah.
And either playoff contender or just in the playoffs in general.
Yeah. Belichick did not perennially win this award.
No, he did not. No, yeah. Yeah, it's another one of those MVP style debates. Like Bill Belichick theoretically should have won Coach of the Year every year because he was the greatest, but did he get the most out of his players?
Right.
All right. So I'm gonna give the award to Dan Campbell, and I know I'm gonna reference previous years when I give this award, but I think just what he's done to Detroit has just been amazing. Can you remember 2 years ago when they were 1-6?
Yeah.
And he was crying at the podium, saying I know we're just
Right.
coming around that bend. We're almost there. They rattle off. I think they finished 6-1 or 6-2, whatever it was. They barely missed the playoffs that year. And then last year, they realistically should have been in the Super Bowl, and they've just kept it going this year.
Yeah.
He has built that into a powerhouse offense, great defense. Even they lose Aiden Hutchinson, and you think it's going to take a step back, and they really haven't.
Right.
So
And just the reclamation project of Jared Goff,
yes,
right?
Mm-hmm.
A Super Bowl quarterback who
Yeah.
was just cast off. He was intended to be like a footnote in a trade,
Yeah.
and he turned him into this MVP candidate.
Yeah. No,
Right.
it's Dan Campbell and John Harbaugh know how to resurrect quarterbacks' careers.
Yeah.
And we'll have to get the coach. It must have been Sean Payton, actually, with Drew Brees, because people forget Drew Brees was a failure at the Chargers.
I actually would. I would
You disagree?
disagree with that because
He-
I remember those seasons.
Yeah.
He
You
was
saw
a
the
really good
Colonel?
player. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was his injury
Okay.
that the Chargers, they didn't put faith in him recovering from his injury because he had a bad injury. It was to his throwing shoulder.
Mhm.
And yeah, they were a fun team, that Chargers team, because they
Yeah.
had Drew Brees, LaDainian Tomlinson
Yeah.
was there. And they were actually good buddies too, the two of them. So breaking them up, that was like,
Yeah, I'm surprised he never made his way back to like
Yeah.
New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like just
right.
Batman and Robin that back up.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, I would be remiss to say, so this is Dan Campbell's second NFL job technically. So he was the interim coach for Miami. Have you heard about like the second go around these NFL coaches have,
Uh-huh.
where like the first job, mixed results to like not great, but
Right.
then the second time they get it, maybe a couple of years later, you saw it with Bill Belichick.
Belichick with the Browns.
Yeah. I just thought that need mention where these guys, they learn from the really good coaches can take that experience,
Yeah.
their first job, in this case Dan Campbell with the Dolphins, learn from that and then just take off with their
Yeah.
second.
I remember Pete Carroll taking over
Mhm.
as interim coach for the Jets.
Yes.
And I thought he did a really good job. I thought
Mhm.
the defense stood up and, they looked good. They looked decent. And I could not believe they didn't give him the job the next season. And look what happened to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Imagine if the Jets had.
Well,
kept him
that's a
on.
great example of how the Jets just constantly make the wrong decision.
Right.
But that always answers like if you ever think like why they giving this coach another shot? He didn't do well the first time. Well, that's why they think that they're going to have the second stint bump.
If it was me to give this award out, I would have to go with Mike Tomlin. A guy who's never had a losing season.
Mm-hmm.
Entering the season, there were thoughts that maybe this would be his first losing season.
Yeah.
Last season, they thought he was going to have
Yeah.
a losing season.
5-2 or 6-2?
Right now,
Yeah,
they're
6-2 because they won last night. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's wild.
yeah, and
Because he really got Roethlisberger towards the end of his career, right?
no, I think in the meat of his,
The meat of it, okay. But even since then,
because he won
has
with
had
Roethlisberger.
not.
He won a Super Bowl with Roethlisberger.
Yes.
Yeah, and working through Pickens, Kenny
Kenny Pickett.
yeah, Pickett. George Pickens is the receiver.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then coming into the season, not knowing what the quarterback situation was
Yeah.
going to be, catching heat for working with Fields and with Russell, and with either quarterback, he's really kept that team together. They know their identity. That's something that a lot of these teams struggle with. They know their identity. They stick to their identity. So yeah.
Yeah. In that same note, and then we can move on to the next award. Matt LaFleur, same
Oh yeah.
copy and
LaFleur.
paste.
Right.
Kind of uncertainty at the QB. Although Jordan Love is QB1 there, but losing him for a couple weeks.
Right. Maybe losing him for more now.
Yeah. Yeah. How much is Malik Willis going to make off those couple starts, right? Just show that
Yeah.
brief flash and just be set as a
Right.
backup for years.
We'll see him on the Giants.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The people vote for Andy Reid.
It's
Yeah.
it's hard to argue.
Part
with
of the
that.
reason Belichick didn't get it every year was also he had Brady there.
Yeah. All right.
All right. We're going to do some individual awards now, right? We're going to start off with our offensive player of the year. Opoi. Is that a thing? Opoi.
Yeah, I think it is actually.
And we're going to end up doubling up because
Yes.
it's hard to argue. the impact on an offense that a Lamar Jackson can have.
Mhm.
So Lamar, we're going to give you MVP. We're going to give you Offensive Player of the Year. Hopefully, we'll see some playoff wins that mean something. But yeah, the way he just makes a defense like, I don't know, like cringe when there's a play happening. At least when you're watching it. If you're like, I'm sure if you're a fan of these teams playing against the Ravens and he's back there, you're just kind of like curl up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just tighten up. Yeah. And he's had up until this last weekend, which made it a little bit tougher. You know, he had a 5 touchdown game. He's right there behind the league leader in passing touchdowns with 17, which, by the way, the league leader in passing touchdowns is Baker Mayfield right now.
Yeah.
But he's also doing it on the ground. He is on pace for a historic season passing and rushing, right? He might do, you know, kind of a holy grail of like 5K, 1K,
Yeah.
which is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Speaking of Holy Grail or historic seasons, I'm going to counter with a teammate of his. I gave the MVP to Lamar, so why not just play devil's advocate and say Derrick Henry?
It's almost like we had the MVP
We had to like
discussion
split,
reversed.
yeah, like he might set the single season rushing record. This late in your career is like nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got 900 now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they had their bye yet. And it's almost he does it all in the second half of games.
Yeah.
It seems like he's contained, and then he'll rattle off just a casual 70-yard run.
It does take him a while to get going. I never fully understood that, but it does. Even if you look at the previous years, like first couple games he struggled, and then he'll just go off on a tear.
It's like maybe he needs to get like beat up a little bit to access his true power. But also mid-game, I don't know if fans can really understand this idea of like wearing a defense down. It's a true thing. Like, you know, throughout the course of the game, you just get worn down, and then it gets harder and harder to tackle these big running backs.
Yeah.
You see it time and time again whenever these guys come out.
He's not built like a running back. He's enormous. Like
it's like a regular person. Well, not a regular person, but like a regular sized running back got like a Super Mario Brothers magic mushroom.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes. Great analogy. Yes.
That's how I always felt about JJ Watt too. It's like
Yeah.
a regular defensive end took that mushroom, was like
The whole family. The whole Watt family.
the whole Watt family. Yeah.
All right. Should we move on?
Wait, before we move on to people's choice.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Here
if
with
don't
you, we're on this. They've got Derrick Henry as well for offensive.
They like to split the
Player of the
awards
year.
up too.
They like to, yeah.
Yeah. Although they gave it to they gave MVP to Mahomes, right?
They gave MVP
Yeah.
to Mahomes.
Yeah. All right.
So we did the Opoi. Now we're doing the Depoy, Defensive Player of the Year. Not a big flashy year for defense. It makes it a little bit harder to choose.
Mm-hmm. I think we got a couple
Yeah,
stars.
a couple stars. I compiled a list for people to choose from, and the players that I thought would get picked. There was one that like didn't get picked at all.
Oh.
All right, so I would say right now, statistically, and impact on the game, my choice would be Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right, it's a homer pick, but really he's about as disruptive as any defensive tackle in the league, probably the most. So he's on a bad team, like they're not doing well. But I will say that defense is watchable. Most sacks in the league.
No.
So
it's I can think of one play last night. I was flipping back and forth between the Yanks and the Giants, and Dexter Lawrence just walked through that offensive line as if it was nothing, and he draws so many people near him. He gets to Wilson, bounces him off, and then Burns just comes in and right there for the sack.
Right,
so even if he's not getting those sacks, he's getting the assist.
Yeah, pressure up the middle. Every basic analyst will tell you that's tough to deal with, and it's a shame that there isn't more talent surrounding him. It's a shame that even like Okereke, who's a good player, is having a down year, because usually when you have these defensive tackles that swallow up attention, you know, you should be able to have linebackers behind you that are clean to stop the run. You should have defensive ends that can beat a single when Dexter Lawrence is doubled. It's just not happening. Although we can't say it's not happening in the pass rush, because they do have lead the league in sacks.
Yeah.
But I feel like their run support, you know, for everything that defensive line does, they're lacking linebacker strength.
All right, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to throw another New York name at you. Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Revis Island.
Yeah.
You know, when cornerbacks are that good that they just shut down a whole half of the field,
Right.
where quarterbacks don't even look at that side because they just know they're not going to deal with it. Gosh, that's an easy job, right? Like, that sounds great. That sounds like I'm so good at my job that people aren't even going to make me do my job.
Right.
But that's what he does.
Yeah, and I had Sauce on this list for the people to choose from, as well as Patrick Surtain II, right? And it's hard because what they do doesn't show up on a stat sheet. It's like, you know, awards for offensive linemen, although now they're tracking that a little bit better. But yeah, if you do your job right, nobody hears about it.
Yeah. And I guess you just look at Pro Bowl numbers or something.
Yeah.
They have to quantify it some way.
Right. The people agree with me. Excuse me. They have Dexter Lawrence as well, which is surprising.
Yeah.
I did have a write-in for Nick Bosa.
Also, I do want to point out I did buy a Dexter Lawrence jersey this summer, and I have a terrible luck with that. So it's amazing he's alive. First off, that I bought his jersey, and he's to put in context, before that, my previous jersey was Daniel Jones when he got drafted. So that, like, just to set the stage, like, it's shocking that he's doing this well and I own his jersey. Like, that usually that's a death sentence when I buy your jersey. It's never good. All right,
You should do the dance. Do the dance. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what a great dance!
It's a great dance, and I love watching the Manning cast. Last night, Eli Manning did his rendition of that. We had to find it later.
Oh yeah, send it to me.
It is hilarious.
All right,
hilarious. Yeah, let's do it.
Next one.
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna go most improved.
Most improved.
Okay. Not really comeback player of the year, but I guess, you know, here's where you started. Here's where you are now.
Yeah.
Let's see the greatest growth.
We don't have all day, so I kind of combined these. It's like most improved / but it's actually or.
Okay. I got you. Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. It, like, amazing job with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Vikings, second now in the NFC North, which is a crazy division.
Right.
Great division, but it's wild to think that he was a backup for many years. He you know, it didn't work out with the Jets. It didn't work out with Carolina. He went to the Niners, just kind of sat a year, I guess, learned from Brock Purdy, or just like kind of just learned from that experience, and then gets brought to Minnesota, maybe as a bridge quarterback, or maybe you can say it just like there as insurance in case something happens to JJ McCarthy. And that's what happened. And he gets thrown in, and they look amazing.
Yeah.
It's wild. Another Jets mitts, apparently.
Right.
Which we love to point out.
Yeah. It's another off-season topic, but I think it has more to do with how the NFL in general handles young quarterbacks.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They have talent. Every quarterback in the league has talent. They can't be there, right? But when you start off your career, like, how are you supported? Like, it leaves visible scars if you get onto a team and they don't have the stuff to make your first year like a growth year.
Yeah.
Right. And you see Sam Darnold, you see Geno Smith.
Yes.
Right? They just both happen to be Jets quarterbacks, former Jets quarterbacks.
There's a common thread there.
Yeah. So
This is
we
NFL problem, just Jets problem. No, sorry.
Right. We maybe should be, doing the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes thing instead of the Bryce Young, Zach Wilson kind of situation.
Just keep on bringing up Jets, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, something's got to be said. The amount of quarterbacks that go, it doesn't work out with the team that drafted them. They go and be a backup QB somewhere else. That team does well, and they just get paid.
Yeah.
They just get paid. You saw it with Mitch a couple of years ago.
Right.
Didn't work out in Chicago. Went to Buffalo, was a backup, and then got the Steelers starting job.
Yeah.
Like, there's a path there where you just go be a backup somewhere.
Right.
And, if you're on a good enough team, for whatever reason, another team will give you a shot. And it worked out with Sam Darnold. It obviously didn't work out with Mitch. He's back with Buffalo, right?
I have no idea where
I believe he is. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the NFL game for a quarterback is so hard. Like, you really need time to mature into
Yes.
that. It's not going to be in your first contract that you can become a pro quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's not possible. You see these masters of the game and how long it takes them to like get to the point where they're field generals, and that's what you want. And you've got to be more patient, right?
Yeah.
And the
It's
NFL
actually
is
a great foreshadowing to one of our upcoming awards.
Yeah, the NFL is not patient.
Yeah.
Right. And for that one position, they're the most impatient.
And they need to be the most patient. Yes.
Yeah.
Well said by both of us.
Yeah.
All right. So for the next award, do you want to do the positive one or the negative one first?
I have the negative one next.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are going on to a team award.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the most disappointing, and I actually wanted to finish on a positive note. That's why.
Yeah.
The most disappointing team, which I think may be controversial. Oh, by the way, the people for most improved, they agree.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
It's pretty unanimous. Sam Darnold. So the most disappointing team. Before I give you my choice, the people voted, and it was like split between two teams. But my choice is not one of those two teams. Right?
Ah, interesting.
Okay. So, and I'll start with the people's choice. They chose the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A disappointing team for sure.
Yeah.
The Jets were like right behind them.
Yeah.
I would flip
Two
that.
teams thinking they have a shot at the Super Bowl.
Right. But I think for the Cowboys, throughout the whole offseason, we knew the problems with the Cowboys. Everyone talked about the problems with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Nothing was done to fix the problems.
Yeah, I was
with the
gonna
Cowboys.
say they just did nothing.
They just did nothing. So I can't be too disappointed.
Okay,
It's kind of
I could follow that logic.
We knew what was going to happen. I would be more disappointed as a Jets fan, although we all know Aaron Rodgers' age.
Yeah, age.
Major injury. So as much as it is disappointing, it's not too surprising where they are.
I could follow that.
Yeah. But we've got a team coming off a Super Bowl season, a Super Bowl loss, right? They start the season, before the season starts, all bullets, all rounds in the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And then, bad luck after bad luck. It's not their fault. And they play as well as they can. And they seem primed to turn their season around now.
Yeah.
But for the first half of the season,
imagine the most recent game didn't happen.
Yeah. The Niners are
bang Niners gang.
Yeah, disappointed, right? A disappointing team. Not a disappointing team. I won't say that because I do think they're a good team. I think that they're gonna get the chance to turn around as they get more of their guys back, and the most recent game is evidence of that.
Was that the disappointment bowl, by the way?
Well, yeah.
Niners versus Cowboys.
But to be in the situation they're in, I think is disappointing.
Yeah.
Because it really, if they had all players report, all players ready to go. Game 1, I think they would have started the season off strong.
Yeah. The only counter I have to that is their healthiest QB going in, their healthiest wide receiver going into that game got shot in the offseason. Just to like set right.
Yeah.
They just like there's injuries and then there's what happened to the Niners like that.
Yeah.
Like literally their top wide receiver had gotten
Right.
shot in the offseason. Like
And
that's who was left though.
Yeah. Well, like what catastrophic, like odd injuries? You know, you have Pearsall getting shot.
Yes.
And then in that one game, Debo has pneumonia.
Yes.
And then you lose Ayuk to, you know, major knee injury. Not so uncommon. Very unfortunate. But again, it's a good team. Disappointing first half. I do think they're going to show up. They're going to push a AFC West that doesn't seem that strong.
No, everyone's still in it.
Everyone's
which
still
is
in it.
wild.
Yeah. So they've got a chance.
Yeah.
They've got.
It's like
and
the opposite of the NFC North.
I watched Brock Purdy,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot to say about his talent as a quarterback. I don't feel like he has a lot of talent, but he
Yeah.
has a lot of quarterback in him.
Well, he's a great example of if you give him the weapons, he can be a good quarterback.
Right.
But if you expect him to do everything,
Yeah.
he's just not there. Is it also his like contract year?
Yes.
Yeah.
His
What a
contract.
terrible like year to have that happen to you.
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like if last year he would have made bank, this year
Oh, yeah.
he's still gonna make good money.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No,
But-
they're gonna have a problem. They're gonna
Yeah,
have a problem
yeah.
this offseason. I think it's been documented.
Yeah.
They've got a few fires to put out.
Yeah. He's also the one quarterback I learned about the performance-based incentives from the NFL. Did you know he made like $3 million last year based off of NFL incentives?
Oh no.
So yeah, there's apparently a So fun fact. So there's a pool of money that gets split up amongst the NFL players based on your performance relative to your salary. So he performed so well but made so little that he got like a $3 million check from the NFL.
Oh wow.
Look it up. It's wild. Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I might be off on the number, but he more than made his salary just in those bonuses that came from the NFL, not the Niners.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild.
It's funny. I think Dak makes like however
Yes.
many millions per game.
I think their Dak's one game versus Purdy's season is pretty close.
Yeah.
It's wild. All right.
Are you ready?
Let's
Close
end
this
on a
out?
positive note.
Right.
All right. Most surprising team. So we definitely talked about one of these teams. I'm actually going to – I had two teams written down. I'm going to go with the first one. So when teams draft a quarterback high in the draft, when bad teams draft a quarterback like first, second overall, whatever it may be, they are dreaming of what is happening with the Commanders right now, happening to them. Like, terrible team last year.
Right.
They draft Jane Daniels second overall,
Yeah.
and now they're second seed in the NFC. Like, that's what these fan bases are hoping for. Like, that's, as Giant fans, that's what we're hoping for. Like,
Yeah.
that, like, you just keep on thinking, like, okay, we're just one amazing draft pick away.
Right. Right.
And I hope, I don't know, as a Giants fan, maybe I don't hope that they keep it up, but, I hope Jaden has a great career, and it seems like he's off to an amazing start, but wow, are they a surprising team?
Yeah.
And also, talk about recency bias, if they don't complete that Hail Mary, maybe this
Right.
whole conversation changes. Because they didn't, they do have these odd stretches. You saw it against the Giants. You saw it against the Bears, where they just can't punch the ball in, and they just kill a team with field goals.
Right.
And then they just had that Hail Mary,
Right.
which was the craziest Hail Mary I've ever seen in an NFL game. Just throw the ball short and just have it pop up.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad performance by the Bears
Yeah.
for the most part. That wasn't
Was
anything.
it Stevenson?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a terrible video of him just taunting the fans,
and then he just
loses track,
blows his assignment, and and the people agree with you. Washington Commanders, most surprisingly, I agree. The most surprising team. I don't agree that they, or you didn't say this, but I don't think that they are a legitimate team. They may make the playoffs they will make the playoffs based on the fact that they're in the NFC East.
Yeah.
They are going to have a kind of a puffed up record because they're playing the Giants a couple times. They may even beat the Cowboys a couple times. But if they face any serious opponents, like you said, seeing that one Hail Mary removed, they had a couple games where not only are they not scoring touchdowns, the offense kind of like gets bogged down. They have some big plays to McLaurin, but I do think Jaden Daniels is having an amazing season. I'm not ready to say Jaden Daniels is like a serious next level competitor yet. But
do you see a little bit of the, and just because it's Washington, RG3 type situation playing out? Like,
it's hard
if you rewind, RG3 had a similar rookie season, tearing the NFL apart. Gets to the playoffs. I believe they win their first game, and then that's pretty much it. It just goes downhill from there. He gets hurt, never fully recovers, and you just
I remember that
kind of trending that way.
Yeah, RG3 had a better season by my eye test than Jaden Daniels is having now. He performed better. He was more ready. That's another example of like the NFL ruining a player, right? Because I remember him going into that playoff game and thinking they should not have let him play,
and just never recovered.
I don't know whose decision it was, but someone with a bigger picture should have, made that call. Especially considering, I think we got to see Kirk play in that season.
Yeah, people forget they were drafted in the same class.
They were, So Kirk had a chance to show
Washington had
enough,
their bet there.
Yeah, for the Washington to feel confident in him. They could have played Kirk in that game. They could have.
Yeah, hindsight. You look back and Kurt's still lighting it up. Like, all right, wow, that's a lot of awards.
Yeah, 10 awards. We had a couple more we were considering. Next time though, for the end of the year, we're gonna break out the tuxes. We're gonna have a red carpet. We're gonna do it.
No, we gotta do tuxedo t-shirts.
It's
gotta match the quality of this podcast. Like
yeah. We're gonna put up a GoFundMe.
Yes.
To get some tuxedo t-shirts.
Only if it's the Dumber and Dumber tuxedo shirts.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Harry, Lloyd.
Do you want powder blue or bright orange?
Orange the goal for me.
Okay, I'll do powder blue. By the way, side note, best Halloween costume I've seen this entire season is that, but it was two dogs that were brothers.
Oh.
They were Dumb and Dumber with the tuxedos. Best costume I've seen all Halloween.
We haven't gotten to Halloween yet. We'll talk more about that next episode, which, by the way, we are not sure yet what day, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll put it out there when we're going to do our show that may not be live. Maybe we'll record it.
Yeah.
It's just we're not going to be in the building, so
we'll figure something out.
We'll record.
Yeah.
But another great week. Turning out to be a great season. Not so much for New York fans that aren't in Buffalo, but nonetheless, we've got an undefeated Chiefs. We've got
somehow beat the Raiders despite my prediction.
Yeah. We've got some surprising teams. We didn't even mention the Vikings as a surprising team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So a lot of football to go. A lot of this podcast to go. But for now, we're shutting down. You guys have a great week. We'll see you in 7 days, if not 14.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. That's right. Happy Halloween. Bye.